It's listing optimization. It's the photos. It's adding video. It's making sure that the product features that you're mentioning, whether it's, like I said, on a product page on a Shopify site or on Amazon, that you are writing them in a way that is designed to solve the problems of the customer. Most people default to just a feature. They just write the features out and they forget to add the most important part, which is the benefits. I do this as well. That's why when I have people looking at my own website, they have to keep reminding me of this concept, because we default to features. Oh, well, it's got 2-hour battery life. It's, these are the dimensions, and, these are some of the accessories that come with it. That's great, but that's not the benefit to the customer. The benefit to the customer is, hey, you don't have to, charge it for 2 hours. You can take it with you, to the gym, running, and enjoy the portability of it. Or, for example, it's really small. It fits in the pocket. You can go in your backpack. It's travel size. Those are so important for increasing conversion rate.
The next thing, once we've established, okay, maybe you have something that is the right product, then it's understanding listing optimization, making sure you have keywords in your listing, making sure your images are optimized, that you're using all 7 images, that you have good bullet points, good copy.
I look and I see if it's anything related to the marketing efforts that can be adjusted. Like, am I getting the traffic, but I'm getting low conversion? So I want to have 20, 25% conversion rate or higher. And if I'm, hovering at 8 or 10%, then that's telling me, if I'm getting the traffic, that's telling me that I need to improve my keywords, improve my listings, go and use services like Helium 10 and Seller.tools, that give me the research that I need to see if my keywords and my phrases are getting indexed and if I'm relevant, and then I'll, improve the listing, improve the images, and so forth. And after a while, you just get the experience to know that you have a product that's just not going to get traction. And so you let those go. You let them go. You sell out your inventory, and then you put your energy on the other products that you're bringing in.
Important part of the stage is putting together the listing optimization. You could have the best keywords in the world, but if you don't have it in your listing, it doesn't matter. So number one, you got to make sure it's in your listing. Number two, you've got to make sure it's in the right parts. You have to know how to make the Amazon algorithm happy. There are certain places that have more importance according to Amazon, and you've got to make it buyer friendly. You've got to be able to, you need a good chance that if somebody sees your listing, it really makes that emotional connection with them. And they're like, okay, yeah, I would consider this product.
With Amazon pay-per-clicks, the thing, I think the biggest mistakes that people make are not related to the actual pay-per-click. They're just related to their listing. So people don't like when I talk about the biggest mistakes from pay-per-click, because most of the time it's not related to their actual pay-per-click, but it's just their listings is bad. And but just having, because what you have to understand is it's all about the click-through rate, and also the conversion rate, but how many people click on your ad and how many versus how many views you get. And the more people click on your ad, ultimately the lower Amazon's going to charge you, because they see that your ad is potentially converting more. So the better your listing is, the lower your ad cost is going to be. So that's just the easiest way to make your pay-per-click work, is through just fixing your listing. And then the other thing is using the right keywords.
Making sure that whatever you're launching, your Shopify store or your Amazon listing, is obviously fully optimized, right? And so making sure that all the images are correct, and there are a few other tricks that I can go into more detail later on. So once you have everything optimized, that you are sure that whoever lands on your page or lands on your Shopify store, that you're going to convert them with as higher as high conversion rate as possible.
Choosing the right category. Some people just type the keywords on Amazon search bar, and some find products through the category. There are some products which land in multiple categories, right? So finding the right category also helps in increasing sales and traffic.
Like Amazon they're gonna look at your conversion, your click-through rate first, and your conversion rate. So first, like if no one goes on your listing, it doesn't matter that you potentially have 100% conversion rate. Like no one's gonna buy. So if you need to optimize your click-through rate, and like there's not that many ways you can optimize your click-through rate. Like your images, your main image, there's your title, and then you don't control the review part that much. Yes, product quality, feedback sequence, etc., but you don't have that much control. And then the price. So price, you have control to a certain extent because you can't go too low. So then you're really left out with your images and your title. And then, title, there's some things that you can write in it that are going to impact more. And so one thing that works well for us is putting your warranty in your title. And that's only good if warranty is something that people would care about for that product. Like if you're selling something and people the warranty doesn't really help, then don't put it. But for example, electronics, having 5-year warranty in the title, it was a game changer for especially one of our product. So that's going to help because literally no one else has that in their title. So
you take the time to make sure that you have great photos and that you spend time on building out your listing with the appropriate keywords, thinking about what are your customers looking for and how is your product different from everyone else. If you market your products, but it's not clear to customers why they should buy your product over all the other products, and your listing doesn't look good, it doesn't look compelling, it doesn't make people want to buy, then all the marketing that you do won't matter. They will look at it, take 2 seconds, and go to find somebody else's that looks better. When people are trying to buy a product, they're trying to solve a problem, or they're trying to buy it because it's aspirational. So you really want to make sure that the photos that you take accurately represent the product. They're very well lit. If there's something that people are always asking questions about in regards to your product, I would suggest adding an infographic and showing how this product will solve that customer's problem. And for example, if they're looking for a kitchen item and they need it to be airtight, show it in use with, let's say it's a cookie jar, show it in use and show how many cookies can fit in that jar to give them an idea of scale, as well as showing the airtight seal and that it will solve the problem of the cookies not staying fresh very long. So really work on the listing and the product and then the keywords that are in the listing to make sure that when you drive customers to that listing, it will help them convert.
The business report, I should say, by ASIN, I would look for 3 particular numbers. One is, okay, the unit sales. Everyone's aware if you're not selling many units, but I want to know why. Is it due to low conversions or is it low traffic? If it's low conversions, there's something wrong going on your listing. Now, if you've got negative reviews, it may be just because the product is horrible, in which case you just have to move on or do a new batch of the product to create a new listing. The other thing you can look up, though, is make sure that the keyword optimization is good and that above all the images are really, really, really fantastic, because if they're not, they won't work. The other thing is you're probably being over optimistic on price. So those are the factors that affect conversions. If the problem is low traffic but your conversion rate is good, that's a quality problem to have, and normally what you need to do is spend more aggressively on Amazon ads and you'll find that things will take off better than they were. So it really depends what the cause of the problem is, what solution you should take.
Clearly, about 80% of the marketing needs to be focused towards what can you do to make sure that you optimize your listing. You know, you have the relevant index keywords that you're appealing to Amazon on all of its cylinders for its current terms of service, etc.
So if you look at their bullet points, etc., you see like what they put emphasis on. Sometimes it's terrible, sometimes it's good, and then but the gold is usually in the Q&A and in the obviously the reviews. But the Q&A is very overlooked because if like it's a product that's pretty popular, usually there's gonna be like hundreds of questions. So when you look at the questions, most of the time there are always going to be like a few questions that always come up. So what you do is when you create your listing, you make sure that you address those issues in your own product to make sure that they don't come up. But then when you create your own listing, you make sure that in your images and your bullet points, you want to have it everywhere, because some people only look at the images. Most people only look at the images, especially on mobile. But then the bullet points, etc., you want to make sure that you address the common pain points, and not just fix those in your product and not talk about it, but like if a question comes up all the time, you make sure that you put the answer or something related to that in your images, because one thing that people have to understand is like either you're paying like pay-per-click to get people on your listing, or like luckily they go on your listing organically. So once you have someone on your listing, like if they leave your listing, I don't have the stats, but they're most likely not coming back ever. So once they're on your listing, you want to make sure that like you answer every single question that they have, every single questions that they may not even think of. And that's really how using the Q&A is crucial. And then just obviously doing good research and figuring out what people complain on the review. But I think the Q&A part is very overlooked.
The differential between making a sale and not making a sale is all about your listing. So if there's a thing that I could certainly say to people is the listing is key, because that's where your customer is. And if you need to convert that, then that's where you got to put the effort into. Pictures have got to be outstanding, and I mean outstanding. The title outstanding, the bullet points, the description. Describe your product to the customer because they can't touch it. That is one thing that retail sector will always have over e-commerce, is that the customer can touch, feel, see the product with their own eyes. And we've got to make it so that our listing can, as well as possible or as near as possible, achieve that.